there's a need to balance ourselves so that while we adopt technology for promoting efficiency, accountability, and transparency, there is also a need to preserve and protect the core human values, and therefore we have chosen the theme Emerging Technologies and its Impact on Future Society for our e-Naga Summit 2020. We are also aware that this is a time where all over the world people are making preparation for celebrating Merry Christmas. And therefore, we have opted for a very short e-Naga Summit 2020. But while doing so, we have not compromised on the quality of resource persons. And I take this wonderful opportunity to welcome all the resource persons and each and every one of you to this e-Naga Summit 2020. With these few words, I request our Honorable Advisor, IT and CE, NRE and Science and Technology, Sri Mulumo Kikong, to give his speech.
A warm greetings to all the experts and resource persons from Estonia, Europe, Asia and India, and to all the viewers of the 6th edition of the e-Naga Virtual Summit 2020. I'm happy to inform you that the government of Nagaland, through the Department of Information Technology and Communication, is conducting the 6th edition of the e-Naga Summit 2020 through virtual mode under the theme Emerging Technologies and its Impact on Future Society. This time, in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, we are conducting the summit through virtual mode, and we talk top experts in IT sector from Europe, Asia and India, which is a clear indication that the state of Nagaland is very determined and committed to fulfilling our vision towards making the state of Nagaland the next IT hub of Southeast Asia. And I believe that with all your support, we would be able to make this dream come true. With these few words, I wish the 6th edition of the e-Naga Virtual Summit 2020 a grand success.
Our next speaker is Madam Sara Fernandes. She is an international consultant on e-Gov, cybersecurity and smart cities, and lecturer at Minho University, Portugal. She is a researcher, author of books, and she was earlier special advisor to United Nations University in Portugal. Earlier, she has also been actively involved in UNU eGov, which is a think tank unit of United Nations University in Portugal and dedicated to electronic governance and research. Recently, she has done her specialization from Harvard University, USA on cyber security. She had visited Nagaland as a resource person in e-Naga Summit 2018 and inspired the young students so much on the topic of urban mobility. And some of them keep asking when she is coming again to deliver lecture for them. Today, she is again here to deliver lecture on a more complex subject of cybersecurity, the New Deal, and with the extraordinary delivery skills that she has in explaining technical matters. We are sure that she will again inspire our youth to venture into new and emerging technologies with confidence.
Hello Nagaland, and thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your e-Naga Summit 2020. It's always a pleasure to be with you and to share some of the work that I've been doing over the last 2 years. So this talk will be about cybersecurity. I will talk a little bit about some concepts related to cybersecurity and how to raise awareness about the need for introducing cybersecurity issues in the government and business security agendas. I will briefly mention the definition and the aim for cybersecurity, but also the types of threats, attacks, and approach to security. We will finish this talk by mentioning some initiatives from the governments of Australia and USA. I really hope you enjoy this talk. So networks play a critical role on critical infrastructures, which include electronic commerce, voice and data communication services in main areas like financial, health, education, defense, among others. So due to networks' role, network connectivity and ambiguous access are key factors in daily government or business operations. Therefore, networks actually constitute a primary vulnerable target. This year, cybersecurity attacks have increased many folds as compared to previous years due to the new security challenge caused by COVID-19 pandemic. So the third quarter of the year has seen a huge surge in ransomware attacks. Globally, we are talking about 199.7 million ransom attacks that have been reported. So there are some examples, motivating examples for governments and business to set up an agenda, a cybersecurity agenda. For example, in US, the nation's electric grid is becoming more vulnerable to cyber attacks, particularly those involving industrial control systems that support grid operations. So recent federal assessments indicate that cyber attacks could cause a widespread power outage in the US, but the scale of such outage is still uncertain. But we do know that the third quarter of 2020, there was an increase compared to previous years of 40% in ransomware attacks. Now, back in 2014, there was a cyber attack to Sony Pictures Entertainment. And this is an example of an attack to a business, but also it had consequences on the nation state, on the government. So the 2014 cyber attack actually sent shockwaves through US national security and foreign policy. US and international media, as well as private enterprises globally. This was the first destructive cyber attack conducted against US and the first time the US attributed a cyber attack to a foreign government. Eventually, it attributed to North Korea over Sony Pictures Entertainment plan release of The Interview. It's a movie, a comedy featuring a plot to assassinate North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. So the Sony Pictures Entertainment attacks, political and economic consequences, serve a powerful example of cyber attacks' crippling potential. But back in 2008, there was an explosion that damaged a Turkish pipeline. And this was actually one of the earliest examples of a cyber attack leading to physical damage in the power and utility sector. Hackers allegedly exploit vulnerable software used in the security cameras to access to the pipeline's control network. So it is also very important, taking into consideration these motivational examples, what is cybersecurity? So we know by definition the ITU recommendation that cybersecurity is a collection of tools, policies, security concepts, security safeguard guidelines, risk management approach, actions, training, best practice, assurance, and technologies that can be used to protect the cyber environment and organization and users' assets. And by users or organization access, we are talking about connected computer devices, infrastructure, personnel, telecommunication systems, services, applications, transmitted information, or stored information. The aim of cybersecurity is to attain and maintain security properties of the organization and user assets against relevant security risks in the cyber environment. And by cyber environment, we mean the users, the networks, the devices, all software, process, information that is storage or in transit, applications, services, and systems that can be directly or indirectly connected to networks. So security has some properties. It needs to be available. It needs to have integrity and confidentiality. By availability, we mean to describe the amount of time over 1 year period that the system's resources are available in the case of component failures. By integrity, we mean the validity of data, absence of human errors, hardware malfunctioning, damage by natural disasters, may include authenticity and non-repudiation. And by confidentiality, we talk about data. Information for which is unauthorized disclosure poses a threat. So there is also an approach to security where institutions need to define a comprehensive plan for addressing security needs. Security should be seen as a process or a way of thinking on how to protect systems, networks, applications, and network services. Security has to be a comprehensive as possible across all network layers. A form is to adopt a layered approach to security combined with a strong policy management and enforcement, so to produce modular and scalable solution. So if one system is attacked, the other can still be operational. We just need to isolate the one that is under attack. So the methodology approach has 8 security dimensions and 3 security layers. By security dimensions, we mean the access control, authentication, non-repudiation, data confidentiality, communication security, data integrity, availability, and privacy. And by security layers, we mean the infrastructure security layer, the service security layer, and the application security layer. So some examples that I would like to point out of some initiatives that make people aware is, for example, the ones that come from Australia. So Australia has several initiatives that are quite interesting, and I urge you to explore them because they are quite innovative. The OnSecure, for example, is an online community portal for information security professionals working for government. The Stay Smart Online, my favorite, provides information for Australian internet users on the simple steps they can take to protect their personal and financial information online. And the Trusted IS Network provides an environment to share information on security issues relevant to the protection of critical infrastructure and continuity of essential services. So I leave the link below, and I think that you should at least explore a little bit of some of these cybersecurity initiatives by the Australian government. Also, the USA set up a national security strategy back in 2018. This strategy has 4 pillars. The first one is to protect the American people, the homeland, and the American way of life. Recent attacks show how vulnerable US is. We are all vulnerable, but US is an appealing target to hackers. So it comes with no surprise that one of the pillars is to protect the American people, the homeland, and the American way of life. And they aim to do this by protecting network systems, functions, and data. And the goal is to manage cybersecurity risks to increase the security and resilience of the nation's information and information systems. The second pillar is to promote American prosperity by nurturing a secure, thriving digital economy and fostering strong domestic innovation. And the goal is to reserve United States influence in the technological ecosystem and the development of cyberspace as an open engine to economic growth, innovation, and efficiency. The third pillar aims at preserving peace through strength. By strengthening the United States' ability, in concert with allies and partners, to deter and, if necessary, punish those who use cyber tools for malicious purpose. They aim to identify, counter, disrupt, degrade, and deter behavior in cyberspace that is destabilizing and contrary to national interests while preserving United States overmatch in and through cyberspace. And finally, the advance American influence by expanding American influence abroad to extend the key tenets of an open, interoperable, reliable, and secure Internet. The aim is nonetheless that preserve the long-term openness, interoperability, security, and reliability of the Internet, which supports and is reinforced by the United States interests. So these are only examples of initiatives and strategies that are outlined around the globe. In this case, it was Australia and US. But we know that citizens, business, and governments face challenges from cybersecurity events on a daily basis. The cybersecurity is the new deal for so many key actors around the globe, and we strongly urge governments and business to pay attention to cybersecurity issues as we rely more and more on technology. More than a security concept, cybersecurity also includes tools, policies, security safeguards, guidelines, risk management approaches, actions, training, best practices, assurance, and technologies to protect the cyber environment and the organizations and users' assets. In a more and more global world, we need to be together in setting this new deal for cybersecurity. Cyber environment faces various types of threats: accidental, incidental, active, passive, resulting in possible different type of attacks like service interruption. We saw this happening last week with Gmail and YouTube. Assets compromise like the one that actually happened to the Turkish pipeline, and component hijacking. The preferred sectors targeted by hackers are nonetheless retail, power and utilities, financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, and education. The main sectors that affect everybody. There is not a single person in the world that is not affected at least by one of these sectors. Approaches to security should be comprehensive across all layers, from infrastructure to services, applications, and across all dimensions: access control, authentication, non-repudiation, communication security, data confidentiality, data integrity, availability, and privacy. So it is much, much needed to have a new deal on cybersecurity, because the common aspects on cybersecurity agendas should include developing specific cybersecurity strategies and policies, raising awareness among society, staff, government, business, developing specific capabilities, collaboration, coordination, and information sharing, and above all, protecting critical infrastructure in the cyber environment. So I hope that I'm almost 15 minutes. I hope that this brief presentation will spike the appetite for you to explore a little bit more on cybersecurity. And I am available at any time to answer to one of your questions or any questions that you may have. Once again, thank you so much for the invitation. And thank you, Mr. Vizo, so much for your kind words all the time. Thank you. I wish you an excellent eGov e-Naga Summit 2020. Thank you.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Come to Bethlehem and see Him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. O come, O ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold Him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him, Christ